How do you protect and defend brand equity and reputation in the age of social media?
Well, I mean, everybody wants to sit back and try to control the brand. You can't do that because it's out there for everybody. So what the best way to do is just be active and be out there participating. If you're participating, then people get to see what it is. And when you see things that are negative to your brand, confront them if they're not true. Obviously, if they're true, that's part of what makes up your brand, so it's a little bit more difficult. But let's say someone's misusing the marks, misusing the way in which it is, or passing on incorrect information, then you want to confront those things and be real upfront. The best thing to probably do for your brand is just be radically transparent. By being transparent, you are who you are, and you get to be who you are, and so everybody gets to see it the way it is.
I don't think it's a question of how do you protect and defend. I think it's a question of how do you advance your brand equity. Brands don't exist on store shelves. Brand exists in consumers' minds. So if the question is, how do you make sure that people have the correct view of your brand, then I think you have to be a content provider. We're all content providers now. So we can't control the dialogue, but we have to make sure the dialogue includes the relevant facts and the essence of the brand, and then engage the people in the marketplace with your brand. And that's the only way, because if somebody starts a rumor, then you're behind the eight ball. You have to be out proactively ahead of the issues to best advance your brand forward.
Well, I think that the opportunity for marketers is to think about the way that they want their brands to be perceived, and they've got to realize that they can't actually control the conversation that's taking place. But I think it's a great opportunity to listen and to be able to leverage that to evolve their product strategy.
So in the age of social media, when you think about defending your brand equity, I think what we have to realize is that your brand is what people are saying. It's what they're talking about. It's those conversations that people have about who you are and what you sell and how they feel about it. In the past, they would do that offline, over coffee, over the fence with neighbors, and now all those coffee conversations are online, so we can see them. And the best way to really defend is to be who you are online, to have your employees engaged in all the channels where you can engage, and in a transparent and an engaging way, and you're really actually just living online and offline the brand that you are.
I think one of the most interesting things that's going on right now is the power consumers wield in the marketplace in a way I think they didn't before. I mean, if we flash back 10, 20 years, if you were a consumer and you were cross with a company, you had very few choices, right? You could write a letter to the editor that might appear in a local paper. You could potentially find a consumer watchdog organization. You could write to a company. And those were pretty limited avenues. And, maybe if you got really kind of imaginative, you could pick at a company. As I think, one of the things that's really kind of come full kind of force in the last 3 years is consumers' capacity to have an opinion about brands and share that with a much wider audience is, I think, something those of us on the industry side have never really had to contend with before, between all of the more traditional sort of social media sites as well as the ones that keep coming online. I think consumers have a whole new set of ways to have a statement about their brands, and both in good and bad ways, right? And also I think to think about and have those conversations out loud. So I suspect one of the challenges we all face is thinking about what does our brand look like when people can now respond to us in real time with a guaranteed large audience where their comments about our brand, good or bad, don't go away. They have a life that they wouldn't have had if they were a letter to the editor or, a kind of bad word over a cup of coffee. And I think, the challenges then become, how do you think about responding to that? I think there's also an incredible opportunity of how do you leverage all that willingness to engage with your brand, good or bad, right? There's always passion there, and as soon as there's passion, there's a huge opportunity to do something really interesting.